to a wonderful song by AC/DC. This is really the song that really turned me on to the band. Just a great song. Always wanted to learn it, so I did, and here we are. I'm going off the record, the recorded version off of Let There Be Rock. We're in standard tuning. I'm going to go over Angus and Malcolm's parts, which vary a little here and there. And we'll go over a few leads. The very last lead, I've got it all set out for you. The tab is actually really good for that. So anyhow, this is all written out. You can download my notes and follow along with the recorded version. So the song starts out with what I'm calling the lick, okay? It's consistent throughout for Malcolm and Angus. And each one's doing something a little different, just complementing each other just wonderfully. So Malcolm is doing this. Alright, so he's hitting this A power chord, then the 3rd fret of the 5th string, back to the A, then the 5th fret of the 5th string. And then back to 3. Alright, so that lick for Malcolm. And Angus, when I talk about Angus, is like in the intro, they'll do that 4 times before the vocals come in. The vocals will come in, then they'll do it 6 times. So that's a total of 10, including the vocals. And then there's a full beat rest. So you could play the lick silently, and that would be the timing, and then we're into basically this lick where we're vamping on the A. So for Angus, he's playing more of a chord type intro. Alright, so he's going to play that open 5th string, go to a C chord, back to an open A string, to a D chord, open, and then C to A. Alright, so that's what Angus is doing. And again, the timing's the same. 4 in the intro, verse starts 6 times, rest for a full beat of that, and then we kick off the lick. It'll go 12 times with the verse, okay? And basically, in between, he's vamping on an A. Angus is holding the A, while Malcolm is doing the lick and vamping on the A. The vamp on the A really starts with an upstroke, and then it's kind of downstroked and muted in between. Again, Angus is holding that A. So that's ringing underneath Malcolm doing the vamp. Just kind of work with that. We'll try it a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just kind of work on that, and you can even, again, just make it your own. The thing I want to talk about is this vamp, all right? This vamp, they'll do it 12 times during the verse once they've rested and go into the full verse, okay? After 12 times, it's not really written out, it's just kind of known you're going to do this. So after the vamp, there's really almost 3.5, 4 hits before you go into the F for the chorus. All right, so let's go through the Malcolm part with the little extra 4 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so it's 3 hits. Then we go into an F power chord, 3 hits. Then we're going to go to a D power chord, 3 hits held. Now, when we go into the actual whole Lotta Rosie part of the chorus, there's a little technique to it. You want to hit the A and then an open 3rd and 4th string, which leads you into an open 3rd, 4th with a G power chord. That's what gives it that little propelling motion. So listen to it slowly here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we're doing that A to kind of a double G, we'll call it. Alright, and then we're into a little turnaround. For Malcolm, our G power chord, and then move it to an F sharp over D. So we're still muting that A. And then we move up, just move both strings, because we're at a G, we're just going to move it up to G sharp. And then we're back into what we're calling the lick, but you start with the vamp. And I've noted that in the notes, because sometimes they come in with the chord and other times they start with the vamp. So the very first chorus, when you do that transition or turnaround, we'll start with the vamp. So let's do the turnaround together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're into verse 2, so Angus will play the F sharp, and then the D, and then the A. So Angus just does notes there. So it's going to be the 3rd fret of the 6th string, back to 2, forward to 3, back to 2, 3, and then 4. And then you're into verse 2. Verse 2 starts with the vamp like we talked about. They'll do it 9 times before hitting that A 3 extra times and going into the chorus. Alright, the chorus is exactly what we've gone over. And then we start the solo rhythm. Okay. The solo rhythm is basically going to start with the vamp again. So we've come, or with Malcolm. He'll play that lick 7 times, and then he goes into a small chorus. All right, so after the 7th time, there's a hard stop on the A. At that point, you'll hear Angus do his lick and Malcolm answer with our quote lick. All right, so that'll go on for 7 times. That type part. I'll go over Angus's part in a second. Okay, so after 7 times, we're back into another, just call it solo 2. I mean, they just come right into another solo. And this is one instance where he starts with the... Alright, he doesn't start with the vamp, he actually starts with the lick. So solo 2's rhythm will be 8 times of that lick, starting with the lick, and then we go into chorus 3. Chorus 3 is just like what we've learned. After chorus 3, we go into an outro solo, which is also another, we're going to start with the lick. We're going to do it 18 times, starting with the vamp. So you'll count them out 18 times. I mean, it's a long outro solo. And then what we finish up with is our G 3 times, power chord, to A 3 times, back to G 3 times, and then A 6 times and held. So the actual, after we've done 18 times of lick, it'll go like this. You know what I'm talking about. So that's how the song and the outro of, which would be really the third solo, very long, ends. We'll look at Angus's first solo here. Again, it's played very fast. He's really kind of going for it, but these are all the notes if you want to work it up and play along with them. So it'll start out like this with the first measure. Alright, so a little bit of everything in there. We've got 4th string at 7 with some vibrato. Then we come to the 3rd string at 7 with a bend. Then we'll hit 7 again, bend and release, pull off to 5, and then we hit 5 3 more times before coming back to 7 with some vibrato on the 4th string. Then he takes off from the 2nd string to the 8th fret. We're going to hit that 3 times before we come to the 1st string at 5. Back to the 2nd string with 8 pulled off to 5, and then 7 on the 3rd, 5 back on the 2nd. At that point, we're going to keep going. We'll pull off from 7 to 5 on the 3rd string, landing on the 4th string at 7, back to the 3rd string at 7, and 4th string at 7. Then we come to the 3rd string again, hit 5, hammer on the 7, pull back off to 5, land on the 4th string 7, back to 5 on the 3rd. Alright, the last part of the lick, we'll go over it slowly, is the 5th string. We're going to hammer on from 5 to 7. Then we come to the 4th string, 7 to 5. And then we'll hit 5 6 times, kind of semi-palm muted. Alright, so all together slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the very first measure of the solo. The next really 2 measures are 8 repeated 5 4 2 on the 2nd string. And it's played very fast, but it's picked. After the 8th time, he grabs that 5 and slides up. So let's go 7, and then 8, and then repeat. Alright, so 2 measures of that very quick lick, and then we're into the next measure. My notes have it written out because that second measure is done twice. The third measure written out does this. Okay, obviously it's done a lot quicker, but I haven't practiced it to that degree. So what we're doing, this is where we're adding the blue note. We're adding the E flat. So 11, 10, 8 on the first string to 10 on the second string. Then we switch positions. All right, we're going to go to the 5th position. We're going to go 5, 7, and then we'll hit 8, pulled off to 7, pulled off to 5. Another 7 pulled off to 5 on that second string. Then we go to the 3rd string, 7 pulled off to 5, back to 7 pulled off to 5. Then we end up on the 4th string, 7, and then hit it again and pull off to 5. Catch 7 on the 5th string, back down to 7 on the 4, and a little vibrato on the 4th string at the 5th fret. Then we slide in 5th string 7 and catch 5 on the 3rd string. Okay, again, this is much faster, but hopefully me slowing it down and maybe you using Riff Station or whatever works best for you to slow it down, you'll be able to play along with these riffs. So the next lick happens here at the 17th fret. Alright, we're going to start on the 1st string. It'll sound like this. Alright, so we're hitting 17 on the 1st string, taking 20 and pulling off to 17. Going to the 2nd string, 20 pulled off to 17, back to 20. Then we come to 17, we're going to go from 2, 2nd string, 3rd string, 2nd string, back to 3rd string. At that point, we're going to pull off from 19 to 17 on the 3rd string. Come to 19 on the 4th, 19 on the 3rd, back to 19 on the 4th. Come into 17 on the 3rd, and then we end it with 2 19s on the 4th, and then 2 17s, the last one with the little vibrato and slid down. Alright, so slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next section of the lead will sound like this. Beautiful little rundown. We're going to hit the 3rd string at 14th fret 3 times before we come back to 12 and then 14 again. Then we take 12, slide to 11. Then we hit 12, pull off to 11, slide to 9. Then we take 11, pull off to 9 and slide to 7. 9, pulled off to 7, slid back to 5. Landing on the 4th string at 7 before we go back to the 3rd string at 7. Then we go 3rd string 5, 4th string 7. And end with 7, a little vibrato on the 3rd string. So slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. next little lick will happen right here at that fifth position. So what we're doing is hitting the 5th fret first string, coming back to the 2nd string 5, and then hammering on to 8, pulling back off to 5, landing on 7 on the 3rd string, back to 5 on the 1st string. Then we take 7 on the 3rd with a bend, release, and pull off to 5, back to 7, and then 5 with some vibrato and slide down. Alright, solo. And then we're into the little Angus answer and so forth part of the solo. So we'll be doing this. Alright, so what we're doing is sliding into the 4th string at 7, 3rd string at 5, back to 4th string at 7. Then we come down 3rd string 7, back to 7 on 4. And then end up with 5 on the 3rd to 7 on the 4th, slid off. Alright, so we're going to do that 3 times, and then we do it very slowly or quietly, as I put it in my notes. And then the last time we'll do this with a little walk down. So the very last time with the walk down will sound like this. Alright, so what we're doing the lick. When we land on 7, we're going to hold that note with some vibrato and then go to 5, 4, 3. When we get to 2, we'll hit that twice before going to 1. Then we'll hit open twice. Then the 5th string, 3, 2, open. And then we're into the second solo, which leads us into chorus 2. First measure of solo 2 will sound like this. Alright, so what we're doing, we're going to slide in, use your 3rd finger or middle finger to the 5th fret of the 3rd string, because you'll be able to go 4, 5, 7 on the 4th string, back to 4 on the 3rd, back to 4th string 5, 7, and 3rd string 4, and then 4 slid up to 5 and hitting 7. Excuse me. At that point we're going to hit 5 on the 2nd string, and then hit 7 pulled off to 5, back to 7. And then we come to the 1st string, 5, hammer down to 7, pull back off, landing on 7 on the 2nd string, back to 5 twice. Alright, so that whole lick to that point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Real difficult. It's just kind of get it in your head and getting it under your fingers. Now the next measure will start out, we're at that 5th position. We're going to go 8, 7, 5 on the 1st string, back to 8 on the 2nd, to 5 on the 1st. And then the rest of the lick is 8, 7, 5, and he does that, I don't know, just a ton of times, probably 3 measures worth. Alright, he'll take 5, slide up, and then we're coming to the last measure of the solo. So the very last measure will, So the last measure will start out at the 17th position, and it'll sound like this. Alright, so what we're doing, 17th position, we're going to hit 19 bent, and then 19 bent a release, and then a 17. Then we go into 20 bent, 20 unbent, and 20 bent with some vibrato. That takes us into chorus 2, so that's the second solo. Now the third solo stays primarily at this 17th position. I found a really good tab for it. I put it in my notes. I mean, it would take forever to go over each piece, but you'll get a real good feel going through that tab, kind of listening to what Angus does and hitting some of those main notes. So I really hope that helps everybody. Just a joy to play and learn and enjoy.